Hello everyone, my name is Roya and today I will be telling you all about the books that I have read in the second half of May. So first I'm going to talk about, of course, The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. Our live show for this, by the way, has not happened yet. It will happen on Sunday, next Sunday, the Sunday, first Sunday of June 3rd. Yeah, June 3rd, that's what it is. I didn't like this book as much as the previous one and the one before that either, just because not as much happened in it. I found myself getting very bored by Rand's chapters, but I was really entertained by a lot of the stuff that Nynaeve and company were doing, as well as Siuan Sanche's story arc now that what happened to her in the previous book happened and all kinds of stuff is going on. I don't know. I was also kind of annoyed that so many women are like in love with Rand all of a sudden. I mean, it's not really all of a sudden, it's pretty obvious, but it's just like so talked about so much in this book and I'm like, really? And then I was really bummed out about one particular character death in particular. Overall, great book. I was also very sad that Perrin was not in this one hardly at all. I'm very excited to continue with the rest of this series and see what happens next. Next, I read Darius the Great is Not Okay by Adib Khorram, and I was so excited about this book. This is an incredible book that all of you guys should read. So it is about a boy named Darius who is half Iranian, and he goes to Iran because to visit his grandparents. And the witty inner monologue of this entire book just makes the book. It is so good. So I know I've compared, I compared Down and Across to Catcher in the Rye, because it really reminded me of like a modern Catcher in the Rye, but this one is even more so a modern Catcher in the Rye, because you can totally, basically Darius is like a nerdy Holden Caulfield. He loves Star Trek, he loves Lord of the Rings, he loves tea, and he's obsessed with tea, and his dream job is to like make tea basically, and it's just really interesting. And just the relationships, the family dynamic in this is just so incredible. I cried at the end of this book. I cried, and it is such a good friendship story as well. It was just such a good book the whole way through, and I don't even know, you guys. Also, I am half Iranian as well, and I have never been to Iran, so it was very, very awesome to kind of see a book that takes place mostly in Iran, because that was super cool. It was so well researched, like all kinds of stuff. I also read Total Cat Mojo by Jackson Galaxy. This was recommended to me by my bookish friend Catherine, who I will leave a link to her Twitter down below. She is also a book reviewer. I just don't know what her blog is off the top of my head, but anyway, she is a fellow cat enthusiast, and she's the one, she turned me on to Jackson Galaxy's show on Animal Planet, My Cat from Hell, and this guy can pretty much solve like any cat problem ever. And so this book taught me so much about cats, and I can tell you right now, I am the kind of kid who, when I was in 3rd grade, I was going to the library and checking out books about cats, about different cat breeds, all kinds of stuff. This taught me so much more about cats than I'd ever known before. It is kind of incredible, and seriously, if you have a cat, if you ever plan to own a cat, if you've ever owned a cat, if you've ever even looked at a cat, you need to read this book. Pretty please. My God, you will learn so much about cats, and you will get to know your cats so well, because I totally feel like I know my cats so much better after reading this book. I also did a buddy read this month of Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel with my friend Heather from the channel Heather Dowell now. It is no longer Heather Reset, it is Heather Dowell, I believe. So I will leave a link to her channel down below. So we both kind of thought this book was good, but not really our thing in a way, because neither of us read a whole ton of lit fic, really. We're both more fantasy and historical fiction and just etc. Did think that a lot of things about this book were pretty genius, because post-apocalyptic stuff is awesome. I love post-apocalyptic books a lot, and I could even like do a whole recommendations video about post-apocalyptic stories. In fact, I should probably do that. That sounds like fun. But anyway, this book is basically a bunch of different people's responses to the apocalypse, pretty much, and how they continue to live in a world where most people are dead from a virus and some people are not. And mostly it centers around this girl named Kirsten who she's part of a traveling theater group, and this is after 20 years after a virus has killed off most of the population. The vast majority, like 99% of people, are dead. And she and her theater group go to this town that they've passed through many, many times, but suddenly it's being run by this crazy prophet guy, and he's like, it happened for a reason. We were chosen. Meh, meh, meh. And this guy is like so psycho, and you're like, what? He has like 4 wives, and they're all like 12 or some crap, and it's just really weird. Actually, in our buddy read, when we were talking about this book, Heather kept calling him the Governator because she didn't know what else to call him, and I sure as heck didn't either. I don't know, but yeah, so it's pretty insane. There are a lot of, it's told in multiple points of view between the present day after the apocalypse and before the apocalypse leading up to it. And so some parts I kind of wondered why they were necessarily there, what it really was we were supposed to get out of it, other than it connected the dots in some ways, but also a lot of questions were left unanswered, which was kind of weird as well. And I felt like it ended a little bit abruptly and nothing really got solved. So I did enjoy this book, but not to the extent that I was hoping to, but I still liked it. And my ebook for this month was Whisper of the Tide by Sarah Tolkster. This is the sequel to Song of the Current, and I got this copy from NetGalley, and it comes out on June 5th. So Song of the Current was a very good book, a very good piratey adventure, sort of, that used, you know, well-researched boat terms and whatnot, and as someone who pretty much grew up with British Navy stories, I did really enjoy it, but I kind of didn't think there was anything super special about it. This second book, however, completely blew the first one out of the water. It was so good. All kinds of crazy stuff happened in it. It was so much more high stakes, more adventurous, more everything. And it was just, you just don't know what the heck is going on the entire time. Also, there isn't really a love subplot because the 2 main characters are already dating. There isn't a, like, thing anymore about, oh no, what do I do, about any of that stuff. So the story focuses so much more on other things, and I absolutely loved that. So I definitely think that even if you kind of thought Song of the Current was okay, I still highly recommend reading the sequel because it is so much better. I mean, both of those books are very good. I did really like just the piratey adventureness of it. More so in the second book, it's more piratey in the second book. The first one isn't that piratey, but it's still a high seas sort of adventure thing. So these 4 books plus the ebook are my books that I read in the latter half of May. Yeah, that's the month it is, May. And so if you have read any of these or have thoughts on them, please let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and let me know what your favorite book you've read this month is, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!